Today, we have a big one that can make a huge difference. Our behavior regarding the practice. The practice is one of our kids' best environments. They enjoy the training because of friends, and the stakes are lower than in a tournament. We must understand that it's our kids' space, not ours. It's the space where he improves his games and builds a relationship with the coach. I know it's a pleasant activity for parents. It's a magnet watching our kids during his workout. But we're adding pressure to the system. So avoiding our presence during practice is a good one. Unconsciously, we evaluate them, and later we talk about what we perceive. Even if we are right in our opinions, the dynamic is unhealthy and a short-term view. Another good reason not to watch practices is sometimes it is better not to know. Kids can have a bad day or play with an unskilled mate, whatever. Not knowing brings us relief, and in youth sports parenting, a less stressed path is key. Let me share a good story about attending practices. When I launched my first book, My Son the Tennis Player, I had my first radio interview with a journalist who loved tennis. As it was my first one, I told my wife and a couple of friends the scheduled time to listen and provide some feedback. It was scheduled for 6 p.m. when my wife returned from work in a shuttle. The driver, Bob, had a 10-year-old son who played soccer, and he used to brag about him. Yesterday, Tommy was amazing, MVP of the match. He scored twice in the weekend match. He clinched yesterday. Every day he had something to say. The interview day came, and Marian asked Bob to dial the radio station to listen to the interview. It lasted about half an hour because we started with the book and later talked about the tennis secret. I had a great time and things went friendly and comfortable in my first one. The next day, my wife stepped on the shuttle and Bob didn't say anything. For the first time, he was in silence. He remained that way for the whole trip. As they approached Marian's stop, Bob spoke for the first time and said, "You know something? Yesterday, after listening to your husband, I arrived home and told my kid I would no longer attend his practices. Do you know what he answered me?" Marian was embarrassed. She didn't expect such an approach, and other travelers were waiting for her to leave the shuttle. Anyway, she empathized with Bob and nodded. He said, "Thank you." Can you believe it? He said to me, "Thank you." Marian smiled and slowly, very slowly, she stepped out of the bus. It happened more than 5 years ago, and I get emotional every time I recall the scene. How can something so little can help a kid and open a new world for him? You can't imagine how powerful this tip is. The feeling of freedom your child will experience is limitless. I guess you know exactly which is today's homework. You're right. Leave your kid at practice and you can do anything but watch him. Your son or daughter will highly appreciate it. See you in the next lesson.